Welcome back to another episode of Thoughtful Perspectives, the podcast where we dive deep into life's most intriguing questions and offer insights to help you grow and thrive. I'm Alex.
And I'm Taylor. Today, we're tackling a question that's probably crossed everyone's mind at some point. How many opportunities are we missing in life? And more importantly, how can we recognize those opportunities and make the most of them?
This is a big topic, Taylor. From the opportunities we consciously pass up to the ones we don't even see, there's a lot to unpack. Let's start with cultivating awareness to recognize opportunities. How do we train ourselves to spot them in the first place?
Awareness is such a crucial part of recognizing opportunities. There's this fascinating study by Dr. Richard Wiseman, a psychologist, about luck. He found that people who describe themselves as lucky aren't necessarily more fortunate, but are more open to unexpected possibilities. They notice things others might overlook because they're more attentive and flexible.
Right. He did that experiment where he placed money on the ground and observed who found it. The lucky participants tended to notice it because they were actively engaged with their environment, while the unlucky ones often walked right past it, lost in their own thoughts.
Exactly. It's a great reminder to stay present. We get so caught up in our routines and to-do lists that we miss what's happening around us. One way to cultivate awareness is through mindfulness practices. Have you ever tried something like a curiosity walk?
Oh, I love that. For listeners who might not know, a curiosity walk is where you take a walk and intentionally notice things you've never paid attention to before, like the texture of tree bark, the way light hits a building, or the sounds around you. It's simple but powerful for sharpening your observational skills.
Absolutely. And awareness doesn't just apply to physical surroundings. It's also about listening to people and being open to new ideas. You never know when a casual conversation could lead to your next big break.
That's such a great segue into the next part of our conversation, the impact of saying no at the wrong times. Have you ever said no to something only to look back and think, what was I thinking?
Oh, all the time. One instance that really sticks with me happened in college. A professor invited me to a networking event, but I was exhausted from studying and turned it down. Later, I found out that one of the keynote speakers was a major figure in my field. That missed opportunity haunted me for years.
Oof, that's tough. It's such a balancing act, isn't it? On the one hand, you can't say yes to everything without burning out. On the other hand, saying no too quickly can close doors you didn't even realize were open.
It's all about discernment. Before you say no, take a moment to ask yourself, what's the potential upside here? Even if it feels inconvenient or outside your comfort zone, it might be worth a second look. There's a quote by Richard Branson I love. If someone offers you an amazing opportunity and you're not sure you can do it, say yes and learn how to do it later.
That's a fantastic mindset. Sometimes fear of failure or imposter syndrome makes us say no. But if we shift our perspective to see challenges as growth opportunities, we're more likely to take the leap.
So true. And speaking of leaps, did you hear about the woman who accidentally created a multi-million-dollar business after saying yes to something completely outside her comfort zone?
No, but I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Her name's Sarah Kaus. She was an accountant who said yes to attending a design conference, even though she had no design background. At that conference, she got inspired to create a reusable water bottle. And that's how Sewell bottles were born. Sometimes the opportunities we least expect lead to the biggest transformations.
That's such an inspiring story. But let's be honest, not every missed opportunity has a happy ending. Sometimes reflecting on what we've lost is painful. How do we turn that regret into a learning experience?
Reflection is key, but it's important to approach it with self-compassion. Research from Kristen Neff, a pioneer in self-compassion studies, shows that being kind to ourselves during difficult times helps us process failure more constructively. Instead of beating yourself up, ask, what can I learn from this? How can I do better next time?
That's such a healthier approach. And let's not forget, some missed opportunities are blessings in disguise. There's this classic fable about a farmer who's constantly told he's lucky or unlucky depending on the day's events, but his response is always, maybe. The point is, we often don't know the full impact of an event until much later.
That's so true. One of my favorite examples of this is Steve Jobs getting fired from Apple in the 80s. At the time, it seemed like a massive failure, but he later said it was the best thing that could have happened to him because it allowed him to explore other ventures like Pixar. And eventually, he returned to Apple stronger than ever.
I love that story. It's a reminder that even when we miss an opportunity, it's not the end of the road. New doors will open if we stay curious and resilient.
Let's get practical for a moment. What are some actionable ways our listeners can start spotting and seizing more opportunities?
Great question. Here are a few tips. 1. Cultivate curiosity. Ask questions, explore new hobbies, and read widely. The more you expose yourself to different ideas, the more likely you are to spot opportunities. 2. Network. Actively. Surround yourself with people who inspire you and challenge you. Conversations often spark ideas you wouldn't have thought of on your own. 3. Stay adaptable. Be willing to pivot and take risks. Like we mentioned earlier, saying yes to the unknown can lead to incredible outcomes.
Those are great tips. I'd add a couple more. 4. Practice gratitude. When you appreciate what you already have, you're more likely to recognize new opportunities as gifts rather than burdens. 5. Keep a journal. Write down moments when you've said yes and no to opportunities and reflect on how those decisions shaped your path. It's a great way to identify patterns.
That's such good advice. And let's not forget the power of intuition. Sometimes you just feel when something is right. Trusting that gut feeling can lead to amazing things.
This has been such a rich conversation, Alex. If there's one thing I'd like our listeners to take away, it's this. Opportunities are everywhere, but they don't always announce themselves. Cultivate awareness, stay open-minded, and trust that even missed chances can teach valuable lessons.
Well said, Taylor. And remember, it's never too late to create new opportunities. Life is full of second chances if we're willing to look for them.
Thanks for tuning in to Thoughtful Perspectives. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review.
Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep growing. See you soon.